Welcome back, guys. Got a fun one for you today. The Rossi R92 lever action carbine. Check it out with me. But before we get started, don't forget to check out our friends over there at Workaday Custom Gun Leather. Custom made to order. Go ahead and check them out. Well, at first glance, you're looking at her and you're thinking, boy, isn't that pretty? And I'll have to agree with you. This is the Rossi R92, obviously modeled after the Winchester 92. Now, this was actually manufactured by Taurus, so it's a Brazilian carbine, but they did a very good job with this thing. Now, like most lever actions, this is going to be a tube magazine rifle, and you can fit 8 in there plus 1. So if you chamber one, you're going to have a total of 9 shots. That's pretty good for a handy little carbine like this thing, and it's super balanced, super handy, and I just absolutely love shooting this thing. Now you're going to see that she's got a stainless finish on there, and it's super pretty, easy to polish too. It's pretty smooth, but it's a little bit sticky on the lever action, which is, you know, it's forgivable, I suppose. The sights are pretty simple. It's going to have a basic Buckhorn type sight and a dovetail in front sight, and they're pretty darn easy to pick up. Now, another thing about this, I guess the lawyers got to them, or maybe they just wanted to put their own little charm on it. It actually has a safety on top right there, so you can switch it on and off. Now, a weird thing about the safety that I noticed, if you have the hammer resting on the firing pin and you go to click it off of safe, it'll bring it gently forward like that. And the only way to move that back is to put it on the safety notch like that. And then you can cock it like that. So the idea is pretty much like a double safety. So you have to have in the safety notch to put it in safe, or preferred carry method with the safety on in the safety notch. So yeah, that's pretty cool actually. That's pretty darn safe. And true to the old Winchester, it is a top ejection. So you're going to see they're going to load out of the tube, go into the chamber when you close it up, and then when you go to eject your shell, it'll shoot straight out the top, and you'll see that during live fire. And you're going to see it does have a side loading gate on there, which makes loading super easy. It's not like a Henry where you have to load it through the tube, so it's a pretty nice little feature right there. So this particular carbine shoots 45 Colt, and I'm going to be shooting Federal 225 grain jacketed soft points. Usually I'll shoot 200 grains out of this thing, so we'll see how these go. I'm expecting them to go a little bit high because they weigh a little bit more. So we're going to see how they do at the 25 just to start us out, and then we'll adjust from there. So it looks pretty. It looks like it's manufactured pretty solid with some nice safety devices on there. So let's see how this thing shoots. So we're going to start off at the 25, then we're going to move to the 50, and depending on how we do, we're going to reach out to the 100. So let's give it some shots. Alright, so our groups are going to be 5-round groups, so we're going to keep it real simple. And I have it on the lowest sight setting. 1, obviously, because it's 25 yards. 2, I expect these things to climb, so I'm going to start out by aiming for bullseye, and wherever they land, that's going to tell us how much rise we're going to be dealing with, or if somehow they end up going too low. But only one way to find out, right? Alright, so here we go at 25. Put it on fire. Pretty easy trigger. So there's 5. Let's see how we did. Now there's a very lovely group. Now I think that was shot number 3, maybe 2 when the trigger surprised me. But otherwise, yowza, at 25, this carbine has no problems. Look at these big chunk holes. Alright, so I think we're all in agreement that 25 yards is child's play for this carbine. So here we are at the 50. And I'm going to adjust the sights accordingly. So I had it all the way down for the 25 yards, and with these 225 grain pills, it looks like that's what these rifle sights are actually calibrated for. And that's just fine, especially since that's what I've got today. So I'm going to take it up about halfway up the sights, and that should, a little bit difficult getting in that gate a little bit, and that should put me on bullseye again. So quick adjustment right there. Now with the sight adjustment, I'm going to do 5 rounds, and I'm going to look at the group down there, you know, then we'll judge from there. The next thing I want to do is I want to talk about the Buckhorn sights. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, we've adjusted the sights, so let's go out to the 50 here. I pulled that one, I know I did it. Alright, that's 5. So with that first sight adjustment, we got negative impact. That tells me I'm either undershooting it or overshooting it. So let's do a little bit of adjustment. So with that sight adjustment, I believe I was overshooting it. So I'm going to bring it back down and see what kind of effect that has. Probably to the 2nd notch. That might do it. So let's see. I'm not seeing any splashes. I might still be overshooting it. I'm going to bring it all the way down. Let's see what happens now. Wow. This thing's on point at 50 yards. I just hit to the right of center. Let me give myself credit for 2 more rounds. I just bungled that last shot. I felt me twist it a little bit. That's looking a lot better. Let's see how we did. Now this tells you quite a story about the sights here. So even on the 2nd elevation notch, it took it up that high off of center. So I put it back down to the first one, and truth be told, I shot a pretty poor group there, because that's looking a whole lot better than that. Alright, well, let's move on. So that's kind of interesting that the sights stay pretty solid at 50, so you can keep the lowest setting and you'll hit just fine. So that leads me to believe, if I were to use these Buckhorn sights, namely if I go to the top of them, I'm going to go way, way high. Now there's several uses for the Buckhorn sights. It's so you don't have to make a sight adjustment. It's basically so you can range off of those. So I believe the top of the horns right here was 100 and probably mid between maybe 75 or something like that, but kind of curious. So let's see what it does at 50. My prediction is going high, so I'm gonna aim at the bottom of the black, and I bet you I'm gonna hit somewhere close to a bullseye. Yeah, that probably went way over. I'm going to send one more. I'm going to aim at the very bottom of the target, see if I can even hit black. Maybe I'll save that for the 100 yards. I'm going to take these last 3 shots at bullseye using the standard sights. Let's go down range and check it. And predictably, there's one. So I bet you $1 million that's one I was aiming down here, and the other one went clear over. And these were the last three. I'm thinking at this range, they might be losing velocity or whatever, because they're opening up quite a bit. So I made a slight adjustment on the sights, up to the second notch again. And we're going to see how she does at the 100. And there we have it at 115, some pretty solid hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, looks like. Now, I learned real quick, even after making that sight adjustment, I only moved it up 1 notch. I was aiming here to hit here. So with 225 grain rounds, the very lowest base setting will take you out to 100. Because if you make any adjustment, even the slightest bit, you're aiming low. So even if I put it at the base setting, the lowest setting, I bet you center mass would have hit no problem. Alright, so now we know the rifle is definitely capable. So why am I walking around with my Charles Daly pistol? Well, I'm doing it like the old cowboys used to do. They used to carry around interchangeable ammunition for both weapons. So I can use 45 Colt in my revolver, and I can use 45 Colt in my carbine here, and that makes life a whole lot easier. If I'm on the move, I can just use the same ammunition for both weapons. And if I need to go after a long game and I only have ammunition left in my revolver, well, I can just simply take it out of the revolver, put it in my carbine, and I can reach out even further. Alright guys, let's have some fun. So out of 50 yards, I set 5 targets. I'm going to take 2 shots at the carbine, and I'm going to do a revolver reload with the carbine, meaning I'm going to take the rounds out of the revolver, put them in the carbine. So this should be fun. The action's kind of sticky on this thing. Alright, out of ammo. Well, that guy is a revolver, so at 50 yards, that's not going to do me any good. So, shoulder that. Take the rounds out of the revolver. Reholster. I'm going to take those rounds I took out of there, stick them in the carbine. What a sweet, sweet carbine this thing is. Taurus actually did a really good job on this. Taurus, Rossi, whatever you want to call it. They did a pretty good job. It looks pretty, it shoots nice, and it's accurate enough. I mean, at 100, it was looking pretty darn good. And that's sending 45 Colt rounds this range. So, if I were to go out and try and take a deer with this, yeah, I could definitely do it. In fact, I might take this out this season because in my state we can do straight wall cartridge rifles. So yeah, this would be very handy in the field actually. So I don't know, we'll see. Anyway guys, I had a whole lot of fun with this. I hope you did too. Holler out in the comments, tell me what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your buddies. Until next time.